When I need to take control of my expenses, it took me a few months to actually figure out what I should cut down on. Now, for a lot of us, the problem isn't income, it's a handful of normal purchases quietly draining our money. If you don't take control of the small, everyday expenses, they will quietly push you closer to debt without you even noticing. Hi, I'm Scott. I'm a retired Master Sergeant who served 26 years in the United States Army, and it has become my passion to help fellow veterans get out of debt. Here are 5 changes to make and how to go about doing it in a way that makes real-world practical sense. And the first one, well, it might actually shock you. It's insurance. And the truth is, insurance is not a fixed cost. Military retirees get discounts that most never use. Bundling an auto and home insurance, it actually cuts your premium by around 10% annually. Add a safe driver course, that saves another 5 to 15%. If you've got any emergency money stored in the bank at all, raising your deductible cuts it further. These benefits are just sitting there, they're unclaimed, while you keep paying full price. High insurance costs are one of the greatest barriers reported. And I know it's a mandatory fee, but it's also something that we can control with the right information. Too many people set up insurance once and then ignore it. I did it for years. The companies aren't going to call you to remind you that your rate could drop. You're gonna have to do that work on your own. But don't worry, because the work is actually minimal. All you have to do is call your current company and see how much your deductible saves. Ask about bundling, military discounts, and safe driver course. Make a list of potential companies. Call them up and ask them for their best details. Compare the quotes to see if you're being taken advantage of. 2 policies with one company typically saves 10% off both. And that's without even negotiating. It's just how they price it if you ask for it. But the potential savings, well, they don't stop there. Now, this next one is something that you've already been trained to live without: convenience. For example, I used to buy those bags of pre-cut vegetables that feel efficient, right? And then you grab a frozen meal, you hit the snack section for every single serve portion. It's easy and it's fast. The week, well, it was handled. Except I was spending $18, $20, sometimes $25 per meal on convenience food. Real cooking at home runs about $4.23 per meal. That gap, that's insane. I convinced myself that it was worth it. Time is money, right? Except the time I was saving, guys, it didn't actually exist, right? Chopping a potato takes like 90 seconds. Cooking rice takes 30 minutes of passive time. You're not actually doing anything. The convenience premium was just a trap that I kept paying into. So I tested it out. Started cooking on a Sunday. I'd roast 2 chickens, cook rice in bulk, chop vegetables once for the week, and make a pot of beans. We're talking 2 hours total, and I was set. The monthly savings baffled me. That was $57 minimum compared to convenience meals. That's $684 annually just on the grocery markup. And the best part is, you're eating better food when you do this. Actual protein, actual vegetables, things without 30 ingredients in it that you can't even pronounce, and it's not even a trade-off. You're winning on both sides. If you're a military or eligible for military commissaries, well, this gets even better. Commissaries offer 25% average savings versus civilian grocery stores. If you still buy the convenience markup garbage, well, you're just getting a discount on overpriced food. Whole ingredients at the commissary, that's where the real savings hit. The money moves fast, the food is better, and you're not paying $400 a month just for the illusion of saving time. Another one, streaming services. You're definitely spending more than you think and more than you should on streaming services. Cable was the bigger anchor. I had kept it for years just out of habit. It was just there. Everyone, we all just had cable. That's what people did. I wasn't even watching it, and I was paying for streaming service that I watched maybe twice a year. The math was saying that I was spending over $120 to watch one movie. That's why it's time to ask yourself this question: what do I actually watch? Here's how to handle this in a way that makes sense. Write all the services down and their yearly cost. Guess how many times you actually use it. The math should be obvious. Try to cut down to just one. You can always get it back if you want. I canceled my big cable setup, went to only basic Wi-Fi, and kept 3 streaming services. That meant I had saved $280 a month, and the best part is I was still able to watch the things that interested me. Now this next one, well, it might be a little obvious, and it felt a little obvious to me, but there is still one that I've seen so many people ignore, and that is eating out. The idea of going out and treating ourselves doesn't feel like spending, does it? But the numbers, it doesn't care how it feels. When you actually add it up, eating out quietly turns into a serious monthly drain. For someone carrying debt, that's a leak they can't ignore. As we talked about, cooking at home costs $4.23 per meal, but eating out averages $16 and up. That is a 4-to-1 difference. Now you might be thinking this is about expensive dinners or special occasions. But here's the thing, I wasn't going to some fancy steakhouse. I was grabbing sandwiches, hitting drive-thrus, stopping for a quick dinner because it's been a busy day. In Chicago, it is easy to spend over $200 for dinner for two with drinks. Hundreds of dollars a month gone, and nothing to show for it except the convenience of not having to think. Here's a strategy to reset this and take back your money. Let's start off simple by just picking one meal not to eat out. Then we're going to cook instead and prepare double portions. Track the actual money for 2 weeks, then make the change and track it again. The mental part matters just as much as the math. I had to stop framing this as a sacrifice. You don't give up things when you're resetting your finances, you just redirect them. Eating at home is a strategy for success, not deprivation. Once you've cut down on eating out, trimmed your subscriptions, and reduced convenience cost, your budget finally stops bleeding from the obvious wounds. But there's still one slow leak most people never notice until the tank runs dry, and that is transportation. Transportation is one of the biggest monthly expenses most of us carry, and it's the one that can quietly get out of hand. For a lot of us veterans, that shows up as extra vehicles. Not because we need them day to day, but because we were trained to plan for like failure points, to always have a backup. We're not deployed anymore, right? That realization is why I got rid of my second car. I received a lump sum when I sold it, and that money went straight into knocking down debt. And it didn't stop there. That single decision removed an extra insurance payment. It cut maintenance and repair costs almost in half, all without changing how I actually lived my life. If you're considering this, take a step back and walk through 4 simple questions. What does your second vehicle really cost each year when you add up the insurance, maintenance, registration, and depreciation? How many times did you actually use it in the last month? What would you realistically get if you sold it today? And then when you look at those numbers, ask yourself honestly, does it still feel like it's worth it? Once you've cut down on eating out, trimmed your subscriptions, and reduced transportation costs, your budget finally stops bleeding from the obvious wounds. Guys, congrats. You just freed up thousands of dollars a year. The next thing you need to do is master the 6 core money habits that make those savings permanent. I break down all 6 right here. See you there.